What is up, survivors? For today's mod review, we're going to be going over the Ark Anomaly mod. This mod adds some pretty cool creatures, and we're going to go right into it and check them all out and figure out the little ins and outs to them. Very, I don't know, very mythical for sure. I think a lot of the creatures in this mod kind of have that feel, but this guy looks pretty cool. The rune, like the rune on his head, let me get up here so you can, The rune on his head is actually part of their saddles. I'll show you how that works in a second. Let me pull this off right here, actually. So you have these other world, other land saddles that you'll be able to make, basically. They're called runes, but essentially they're saddle and gives you armor. And you'll need certain things in order to be able to craft them. You'll need this other lands rune to make any of them in general, and you'll get the riff essence from some of the other animals that we're going to talk about in the mod as well. They have pros and cons, right? So you're going to get something you're going to get a little something, a little buff, a little debuff every time you choose one of these three. And then I guess this is the general rune in and of itself doesn't really give you, just gives you an armor buff. It's really all it does. So anywho, that's it. You're going to craft those 4 on your person, and let's see when we unlock them. Looks like they're unlocked at level 30 for the other rune, and then this is going to be like tech level for the other 3. So you'll have the rune at 30, and then everything else will be later on towards your tech tier. Or whenever you decide to unlock it, you can change the ionize up, I'm sure. Anywho, Barrow. Wow. I mean, the sculpts look pretty good on these things. I don't know if it exactly fits with Ark, but I mean, I like it for sure. I think the color palette definitely does. I'm not sure about the sculpt, but the sculpt does look pretty cool. Let's try riding this thing out. So once you put the rune on him, as you can tell, it showed up on that dude's head, and that's how we can ride it. Throw that on here. I'm gonna hop on here. The camera angle is actually, let me get out of K mode actually. The camera angle is a little weird when you're driving this guy, because I'm used to seeing like the whole creature. You're definitely not seeing the whole creature here. You're barely seeing me. Speed's pretty good. It moves pretty good. Looks pretty good. Damage on this thing's pretty good too. You have a normal damage attack that plays no games. You have this other attack that looks like, I think it might have got updated to be removed, like the right click option. The C attack does this. I've been looking around. I don't know what this does. Doesn't seem to do damage. I'm really confused as to what this does. I don't know if it's like a torpor thing, maybe? Maybe? I have no idea. It's a little weird. Anyhow, that's Barrow. I do like the sounds the guys make. The sculpts do look good. I don't know if they look exactly like they really fit into Ark, but they do look pretty cool. We can't really deny that very much. Oh, and also these guys are KO tames. They're meat eaters, and you KO tame them, just so you know. These cool little catfish are like, I can't even begin to try to pronounce the name. They're like Astra Rob, whatever the case is. They look like space catfish. And typically you'd find these guys on like the Genesis lunar biome. It's probably what I should have said earlier, that a lot of these creatures have definitely different spawn zones. They're not always all on the same maps, but I'm sure you can change the ionize for the spawn weight and add current spawns if you want to. I don't really know what this does. It's a space catfish. Apparently you can tame these things with fish baskets, which would be incredibly difficult, seeing as this thing doesn't swim in water. Just kind of goes all over the place. Not sure what the point of this thing is. I mean, it looks cool, but I don't understand the point. There's definitely a whole lot of imagination, and from my understanding, this mod used to be the other lands mod, and then this mod creator took up the mantle and kind of brought the mod back into life with some creatures in it. But this looks pretty cool. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure what it does, but it looks cool. I checked the description on the mod page and everything else, and I haven't been able to figure that out. Anyhow, that's the space catfish dude. Next up is the dread worm. This is supposed to be like a death worm, but like a lot more powerful, I guess. Whoa, yeah, okay, it's got a long list of different attacks apparently too. It has a ranged attack, it has a bite attack, it has an AoE attack. This thing looks pretty vicious. I have admin commands on so that it can't actually hit me right now. These things are untamable, but essentially they're death worms on steroids. They're much more dangerous than, like you said, like you clearly see, they can breathe fire, which is pretty nasty. Again, the spawns are very different for these creatures. They're not typically in the areas that you may think, and then they're also not all of these are standardly on each map. So definitely check out the Steam Workshop page, and we'll send you we'll put a link in the description of the video so you guys can check that out as far as what actually spawns where. But it looks like right now this guy spawns on the monster island, on the island, in the element chamber, on the wastelands, and also in the Genesis lunar biome. That's crazy. I kind of dig this one. This one definitely feels like it should be on like the lunar biome or on extinction somewhere. I think it actually fits in pretty well there. Looks pretty cool. All right, next up. Next up is the Ether Drake. These are just big dragons is pretty much what we're looking at here. Not wyverns, but actually dragons with 4 legs. These guys typically spawn in mountains, redwoods, and canyons on Ragnarok and on Scorched Earth. They are passive tamed at level 75. You can ride them. And yeah, let's check them out. So these can breathe a heal, kind of like the blood wyvern does apparently. So let's see what happens here. Animation looks good on it. For sure. Kind of fast. No, they're actually not that fast at all. I lied. Alright, so we have... Oh dear, okay. So you still have this crazy fire attack, which is pretty gnarly. Oh my gosh, yeah, these things are pretty vicious. So it looks like you get a primary attack, you get a pickup, but then you also get a boost to your health. So you can basically do what the blood wyvern does, where you hit him with that beam and it leeches health off of them into your creature as well. That's pretty neat. And it looks like they do have a gender, which tells me they're probably breedable. This is a pretty cool one. Obviously it looks like the dragon, right? From the dragon boss, a little bit like the dragon. But I think this one fits in here pretty well. Pretty cool. I like this one a lot. Let me land here to get a better look at you. The mechanics are pretty smooth too. I know sometimes with wyverns things can get a little clunky, but mechanics seem to work well with this guy. Really like that. Definitely looks good. You know, the more and more I look at all of these collectively, they all look like they fit together. Like clearly, I think they were made from the same people or person, and with a like-minded goal here. But they all definitely look they don't necessarily look like they fit right into Ark, but they do fit with one another really well. And the sculpt does look really cool. Can't really deny that. It does look pretty good. Anywho, that is the Ether Drake. This is an interesting critter. This is an interesting critter. This is the Hydroterrax, which is essentially a water phoenix. That's what we're looking at here. This is a pretty neat creature. Basically, the phoenix reskinned, recolored a little bit, and you can go in the water with this thing. It can go in the water. It's kind of crazy. You have your regular attack button in here. If we go up, it's a little bit easier to see out here. We have this ranged attack that's like this blue fiery stuff. I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to be. But apparently this can spin like creatures around and then throw off riders, like throw riders off of mounts and stuff too. So pretty cool option to deter things from bothering you in the water. It looks like that's... Oh, there we go. There's the spin attack right there. Oh, we get a little rainbow when we do it. Isn't that adorable? Anywho, so you have your range attack here, and then that spin attack looks like that's what dismounts riders, and kind of like the Baryonyx tail attack, which you can do in the water right here. But it looks like that's that attack that I was talking about, and then you have the ranged like breath attack as well. So it works like a smithy as well. That's pretty impressive. But anywho, that's the Hydroterrax. Kind of an interesting one for sure. Phoenix. Oh god, the terror bird's coming after me. Help me. Save me. Save me. Anyhow, the idea of being able to go underwater is pretty cool with this one. Obviously not all the cool options that the regular Phoenix has, but being able to become a smithy is pretty awesome. That's pretty easy. That's pretty nice. Plus being able to water dive, that is hecka convenient. I mean, we don't really have any flyers to do this. Next up, we have the Iron Husk. These guys are basically giant ants. I mean, they're the ants. They're just really big. Not too difficult to get past here. We put a rune on them so we can ride them. The rune shows up. And yeah, we have an ant. Pretty interesting. All right, so these guys are KO tamed. Obviously, you can ride them. You're typically going to find them in like sand dunes and mountains and places like that. They can give creatures a buff that lets them take reduced damage and heals them for a small amount. So that's kind of an interesting concept. I don't really see anything else like super useful with this guy. There you go. That's the buff. The right click does the buff. It's like an AoE sort of buff. So it's going to do... it's kind of like a, I don't know, sort of like a Daedon, but instead of just health, it also gives you a damage reduction as well. So kind of halfway between a Daedon and a UD, maybe, sort of, kind of. You do have a jump, which is not that great, to be honest with you. And it does look like that toggles on and off the buff does anyway. It's pretty cool. So it's not like a turn off and then it runs out. It just kind of, it doesn't look like while it's on that anything's really going down. Not really. I can just turn it back off. Okay. Death Gather Wood Thatch, which is pretty cool. Got a little wood thatch gatherer. Doesn't look like it has any other attacks other than the jump, the main attack, and then that buff. So pretty much just a wooden thatch gathering sort of guy. Yeah, giant ant. It's kind of interesting, especially if you're into the whole bug thing. I dig it. I mean, definitely looks like the normal little ants we usually see, just a lot bigger. I could see like a herd of these like coming over a hill being absolutely terrifying though. Anywho, that's a giant ant, the Iron Husk. Next up is the Carcinodonta giant scorpion. It's a giant mean scorpion. That's what we're looking at here. I always kill these names every single time. Anywho, giant mean scorpion thing. It's got crazy eyeballs. It's got a giant stinger. Thing is pretty intense. Typically you'd knock this out with like concussion style, so you'd use like cannons or catapults to knock it out. You can ride it. It looks like they can like, I don't like, see, this is the thing that's bothering me. All right, so we have a tail attack that does like a ranged acid spit. We have a melee attack, and then, oh cool, so C is like a dodge backwards. Do that again. Oh yeah, like hops backwards. It's kind of cool. Doesn't look like he has a jump attack. Looks like it's pretty much it. The camera angle on this one is kind of jacked though. Like I can't really see what's going on here. And he does harvest a lot of wood though. Holy crap. Okay. Harvests a lot of wood. That's kind of a cool option. Anywho, the spit attack, it definitely has a timer on it. That looks like deadly. I would not want to be hit with that. The camera angle. The camera angle's a little annoying. That part kind of bugs me a little bit. Other than that, kind of like it. Looks kind of cool. The sculpt on this guy, it looks cool, but it doesn't look as detailed to me as maybe some of the other ones have so far. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Oh, next up is that guy. So the Plague Bearer Yudi doesn't look like it's a tameable option yet. It's like a Yudi with all these like corruption spikes that come out of it. And it summons these little like termite looking things that come after you and try to kill you, which I think is incredibly rude. I think this is another way to get that rift essence, is some of the stuff that you need to be able to make some of the saddles by fighting these things off and killing them. But these things look gross. They have like little angry spiders. They're like plague termites, and this dude will just keep summoning them, which is pretty gross. Yeah, it definitely looks like kind of like a normal Yudi, but he has all this like crazy stabby stuff coming out of him, which I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm sure there's probably maybe some lore or backstory to this, but holy crap. Yeah, he just keeps spawning these things in. The debuff roar looks crazy with the red though. And these little minions is a pretty interesting concept, but yeah, anywho, look out for these guys. You're gonna need to kill them eventually, but don't try to tame them because that's not gonna work. Alright, that's the Plague Bearer Yudi. Next up is this Trifling. These are like plants that you knock out and tame, I guess. They don't really, you can't ride them or anything like that. But apparently you can KO tame these guys. Okay, and they just like generate stuff for you. So this guy just generates that for me every time, which is kind of an interesting concept. Doesn't look like they can move. Oh yeah, they can move. They're slow. They can move. You can tame them, you can't ride them, but they are slow. They're really slow. So I would highly suggest if you tame these guys like Cryopod or something like that. There's a different variant. It's like a bluish variant to it as well, that you'll see depending on the certain map. This is definitely a weird concept. You can't ride it. Looks like it just does attacks on its own. But like I said, you can tame them, and you can have meat-eating plants running around your base. That's what you want. All right, next up on the list is the Voma. The Voma. I think that's how we. Yeah, you kind of tame these guys like you do the Thunderbutts, with like a chain ball, and then you feed it. It's pretty much how this thing works before it wears off. You can ride them, and let's check it out. Again, the camera angle seems really weird on this guy too. I think it's the bigger dinos. This definitely seems strange on. It's a strange looking critter. Do you have the normal attack? Which I kind of want to see its mouth open when it does this. Oh god. Okay, never mind. Maybe I don't. Ugh. And then you have like an acid spit as well. No jump. Oh, you have like a smash. You have like a smash attack. It's pretty cool with your C. Okay. Definitely kind of slow. Stats look pretty good on it, though. These guys are typically in the redwoods and the bioluminescent areas, and then like in the Genesis and the bog areas as well. Like I said, you definitely want to check the workshop page to see where these guys spawn from. But yeah, that's the Voma. The imagination of that people have when they create animals for this. I don't know. I don't have it. Clearly, I don't have it. This thing looks crazy looking. What would you do if you walked out in your backyard and saw one of these sitting there? I'd move. I'd move real quick. No offense. No offense to you, but I'd move. Don't be. No, no. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Calm down. Stay over there. No. Oh, God. All right, I'm out of here. This mod also includes a boss lava golem, and there's a couple different variants of that golem that you can fight as well. Basically, like kind of like the 3 stages what we would typically see out of like Ark bosses, so it's pretty common. You have an arcane golem, the brute golem, and then a ruin golem, and basically the stats just go up and they get tougher and harder to kill. I'm kind of up in the air about this mod. I like the creatures, but I think it's kind of early yet to really make like a hard judge of whether or not this would be something that I would use. I don't know. I like the creatures. The creatures look cool. There's a couple little things that kind of threw me off for a little bit. Really, the artifacts like showing up above them or on them seemed a little odd to me. Like I feel like that just doesn't, I'm not sure why that needs to be there. I mean, I guess to represent like quick reference to see which kind of rune, which kind of saddle is on each creature, which is kind of cool. The sculpts look pretty good for the most part. They don't look like exactly like what you would see out of Ark, but at the same time, if you line these guys up in the right biomes, I guess they probably would. But honestly, my pet peeve is really the camera angles on some of these creatures. Like this guy here, like I'm so used to being able to see the whole creature when you're on the creature riding it, and like I can only see like the head. It's really hard. It's a very odd viewpoint. I'm not sure where that's going off of, but if something like that could be maybe changed to tweak depending on the creature, that would be pretty cool. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. That's it, guys. That's Ark Anomaly. We'll be having a link to the workshop in the description of the video, so you guys can check that out at your leisure. It looks like this is being kept up to date, so I do want to like stress that it looks like this was a mod that kind of dropped off the wayside a while back, and then a new creator grabbed the stuff and is trying to make it something a bit more current and staying up to date with it. So look, I'm looking forward to a lot of changes, a lot of tweaks. I think this is we're kind of in the middle of a work in progress sort of thing, but I saw it and I thought it looked really cool, so I wanted to test it out. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out. Hit that sub button, hit that like button, and I'll see you all on the next one.